Alrighty, Doc here from North America. It's the end of the week. TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. Hooray, hooray, hooray. All right. What do we got going on today? Let's see what the markets are doing. You know, they were still somewhat slap happy from yesterday, and then the earnings came out. You know, mother's milk of equity price discovery, I guess you could say. And sure enough, the marketplace rolled over a little bit. I mean, they're not exactly damaging the market as much as we can see. Dismiss. There we are. You can see right here on the dollar index this morning, the dollar is a little bit firmer. But you see over here on Chicago Quant, because it's the dots do the hinky-asky job, whereas over here we have to put the hinky-asky bars over it. And when we turn it off, let's see right there, you can see really the product is down at the moment. Okay, so there was some strength. You can see over our work over here, we're in a third day of a sell, and it's going up more than it's going down. That's for sure. And at the same time, you can see the weekly has been in that weekly sell now for a long while. Let's see, where is the Mr. and Mrs. Mouse? Right there, and go like that. And you can see, let's tighten it up a little bit like so. You see all the way back in here. Back in what is that? Early November. It's been in the sell, and same thing going on over here. You can see let's see, early November. There's December. There's early November. You see that long stretch of sell. And you can see even further back, it topped out up in the 114.15 area. This is the DXY. And over here is the CME, stock indices. So you can see here at the same time in September, early October, topping out right there. And then trying to do a double top and then, selling down. And we got into, we went into a sell for a week and then rolled over up on the upside and then came right back into the sell again. Let's see, right there you can see there's the October and the September, of all that action with the dollar. Oh, let's check the chat line. Big Guy and Robin. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's 7:34 a.m. on the East Coast, and it is 9:34 in the evening in Tokyo. So just giving you a flavor of where my head is at. So we shouldn't say konnichiwa. Definitely not. Let's see, where are we at here with the dollar besides all that? There's all that selling that's been going on. Same thing here. And let's see. What else we got to say? I guess that's about it with the dollar. Remember, anybody want to see anything, just shout it out on the chat line. We'll go chase it down. I wonder if I should change my name to BG, like the rock group, right? The Bee Gees. Remember them? To make it easier for Robin. Oh, Robin likes to spell. He's a big spelling fan. Yeah, the dollar overall is going to find a way to go down, because I think that it's hard to believe with all the noise in the world, in the sense of financial and geopolitical and all that stuff. It would be hard to believe, but the rush towards the dollar is coming towards an end in this cycle. In other words, the flight to safety. That's what it really comes down to. It's the flight to safety. Money runs towards the dollar because they're afraid to go anywhere else. That's the problem. We need an alternative. And the Chinese have a good idea. They realize we need an alternative. It's just not their currency. If they'd go magnanimous or ignoble. In other words, if they became like, I care about the earth and the people on it, so we'll stop doing this child slavery and all this other stuff. And at the same time, we'll stop pretending that we are the second largest economy in the world and that we really are just a colony of the United States. And if they would just come back to reality, because their currency is fixed, it's fixed to the dollar no less, and they talk about how they want to be the world reserve currency when they can't even float a currency. So in other words, they're right. It would be nice to have a second currency, and we do. It's called the euro. It's the second largest economy in the world. And let's put it up on the screen here. Where is it? Oh, I don't have it open. I thought I had it open. The euro is the second. The European Union is the second largest economy in the world. And I would have to assume when you go from there, you have to wonder, obviously the Commonwealth, of England and South Africa and Nigeria, the Commonwealth is probably the third largest economy in the world. And then probably goes Japan, China. That's the way I see it. Japan, China. And so, if they were only serious about what they say, that would be really cool. Can you imagine if they actually did what they said they were going to do, tie oil and gold to their currency? They'd be bankrupt like in a matter of months, weeks, I don't know, days. I say days. They'd be bankrupt in days. So they wouldn't even be able to deliver anything. It would be a real mess up, Hey, Salmon. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hello to you. Robin, when lies the truth where friends tell Forex traders stories? Yeah, isn't that the truth? So, it would be nice. I mean, we see here, there's the euro. Oh, well, let's put it up over here. Right there. I thought I had it open. And let's put the euro up on the J4X. And now there's this, what do they call it? The Abrams Accords in the Middle East. There has to be a positive in many different ways economically. That could be the next sphere overtaking China and pushing China into the 6th or 7th position. Because the Commonwealth includes big guy, check Aussie dollar. I've been having problems getting the Aussie dollar. I'm not sure what that malfunction is. I get it up on J4X, but my system doesn't pick it up anymore. I'm not sure what happened to. There's the Aussie dollar right there, and you can see, it's been, moving. It's gone from what is that, the 60s, like right there, no more than what is that, November, right? Right there, it's gone from the 60s to what's that, 61 and change right there to 71. So that's against the dollar, right? So that means that there's 71 Australian dollars to the dollar now versus 61. So in other words, you need more, it's losing money against the dollar. Now, I've tried for a whole month and a half now. I used to follow the Aussie all the time for decades. And all of a sudden the system just doesn't carry it anymore. And it's like, what? I mean, we got the ruble in there. You think if they carry the ruble, they're going to definitely carry the Aussie. But let's try that again. And then we see there's the New Zealand dollar. I have no problem getting that. So let's make a copy of that and see if we can get it in there again. Maybe it's just been a malfunction. I haven't even called the clearinghouse to find out why that's going on. It's 2:38 p.m. in Jordan. Yeah, there you go. p.m. Let's see. No, it's not. Oh, yes, in the afternoon. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, so you're coming to the end of the week, too. It's like, yay, end of the week. A little rest and relaxation. All right, now there's paste that. Let's put the Aussie in there. Let's see what's going on there. There we are. Instrument. And it's really odd. I don't understand what the issue is, but we are not AUD. It says it's there, but it doesn't come up. Look at that. It's blank. Now let's see if I'm getting the yen. Let's see right there. The yen AUD. Now, okay, look at that. So we get the yen AUD and we get the Canadian. Oh, we should check and see. Let's put the weekly in there for that, though. But I don't understand what's going on with the AUD. It's been very strange. We're not getting it on the dollar anymore. I'm not sure what the malfunction is. I should contact them and ask them. I bet they have a whole new symbol for it or something like that. Probably some type of delivery thing. So you can see here that's the yen AUD. You see it went into the sell there about four days ago. It's been in a weekly buy for 2 weeks. It looks pretty consistent. Now let's try another one of these. Let's try the Canadian AUD. Copy. Paste. All right, there. They must have changed the symbol for it on some level. So let's do AUD Canadian. Because at one point I couldn't even get that. There you go. I get the Canadian. So there's the Canadian against that. So it's kind of marching along with the same situation. You know, it's doing that thing. Let's see. Right there again. And CAD. There we are. And so you can see it's been in a weekly buy from back here. You know, the AUD to a great extent is pretty stable against the dollar. Let's put it up on the screen here. There it is. I mean, it's been trapped between 137 and 133, I guess you could say. So it's pretty stable over that same time period. So when you go over to here and we go and look at the Canadian AUD, I'd imagine that's close enough to be able to follow the dollar with it. Because you can see it right there. It has that same launch up to the moon type of thing going on, you know, like that and like that, you know, same thing. Well, that long run. And I think I'll call the clearinghouse on Monday, or maybe even today I'll call the clearinghouse and see if I can figure out what's going on there. Yeah, see now the NZD, that's no problem. Everything else is fine. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's got to be a delivery problem. That's why they're not reflecting it. But you can see that same pattern. You know, long, steady run. Wasn't a weekly buy for a bunch of weeks, and then it went into a sell for 2 weeks, and then right back into the buy again. 7 hours ahead. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds like fun. Seems like a good trading zone, you know? So in other words, you get a chance to see what's going on in Asia, which is kind of thin nowadays. It's not like the old days where Asia was very liquid, you know? Instead, you get almost an hour out of trading out of Asia, and that's it. That's it. Done. And then let's see. That is AUD CAD. Yeah, AUD CAD is right. Where's it at? AUD CAD is right here. They look a lot alike. Same type of action. But I can't get the dollar up there, and I'm not sure what that's all about. Let's see now. I'm reading the tape here. Fine, thank you. Aussie dollar, please. Okay. Someone says it is 230. Okay. Big guy says yes. New Zealand dollar as well. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. That is AUD. Yes. Okay. Cool. 3 sides every story. Mine, yours, and the real side. Good one, Robin. Oh, I saw you called last night. I had gone to sleep early. And when I finally saw it on the phone, like around 11 o'clock my time, I wasn't going to bother you. I didn't want to pester you. Why, did you have another knock on the door? Was it the Red Cross this time? Salvation Army? We think. What other thing can I say jokingly wise? FBI? Okay, cool. So there you go with that. That's the, the dollar's going to be, I'm a little surprised that it's not weaker. Let's see. So when there's 60 Aussies to the dollar versus 70 Aussies. Oh, that's that. So the Aussie's gaining against the dollar. So now there's 70 Aussies to the dollar. So that's a good thing. So it's losing value against the dollar the same way. I mean, gaining against it. I'm sorry, gaining against the dollar the same way. So that seems to be the recipe across the planet. And then when we go over and look at the euro, let's put the euro up there. The euro looks the same exact way. It's got that same drift. It's the dollar is going down, and it's going to keep on going down into the 90s. It's way overpriced, just way overpriced. And the only reason it was overpriced is because there was no other place to invest. If China would have done what they said they were going to do 6 and 7 and 8 years ago about tying their currency to oil and to gold, then maybe there would have been some type of balance there. But they can't. They can't afford to do that. Joe Biden. What about Joe? Jojo was at the door? Jojo the monkey? Did you hear his last statement last night? I saw it this morning. He said that half the women in his administration are women. It was a really weird statement, and then he said, I support women. So half the women in his administration are women. What are the other half? I guess they're, converting over to whatever they are. I don't know. He's a real odd duck. All right. So from there's the euro. Now here's a surprise. I think we talked about it pretty extensively yesterday, and that is the British pound. British pound, seems to be busting out of this little plateau thing here, and at the same time, they raised rates. And you would have thought money would have lurched towards it. The fundamentals that we're all looking for and hoping for all the time that would, be the better decision-making process. But we don't get those things anymore. It's not like the old days where we used to, fundamentals were a major factor to all these products. Now it's the opposite. So, in this case here. Now what we're doing, we're kind of stuck at a situation where where was I thought with that thought? Oh yeah, the technical analysis is more important in many ways than fundamental analysis. And again, I moan about it, in the sense that I find that as a distortion, because that's the same type of mindset of like spend all the money you can and don't worry about it. Let somebody else pay for it. Timothy says, Doc, they say that FX trading is zero-sum game. Does that mean that the big institutions are the ones competing? And if so, why do all of them post huge profits annually? Well, I don't know if everybody does. But I mean, stock markets are down. If they've all posted, what you call it, big competing, where is it? Does that mean? Let's see. Let me read that again. Is a trading game. Does that mean that the big institutions are the ones competing? And if they, why do they post huge profits all the time? They don't always, like last night. They didn't use it. They didn't post huge profits. But let's take that apart, because I think you've got some really good points there. And that is, they say FX trading is a zero-sum game. No, because they can print money so they can expand the inventory. So it's not a zero-sum. I don't know who says that, but they're wrong. Does that mean that the big institutions are the ones competing? Well, if you're a company in England and you want to buy something from Germany, you have to convert it to euros, or they'll have to convert it to euros sooner or later. I mean, they might hold on. They might have a foreign account with British pounds in it. A diverse way of parking your assets in a sense. And vice versa. If you're a big company or a small company, it doesn't matter your size. If you're a company in Turkey and you want to buy something in France, you've got to convert your Turkish lira to there's no French francs anymore, but there's a euro. So if you live in Brazil and you're a company and you're trying to buy something from the United States, you got to convert your Brazilian real to dollars on some level, or agree with some other way of converting or setting a price for whatever you're trying to buy or sell. So no, it can't be a zero sum factor because they print currency a lot. Big Guy says, is the DXY going to go down today? I don't know. That's a good question. Let's look at it. Where's it at? DXY. Let's go back to the DXY. Right there. There's the DXY. And you can see it is down today. It's down today from yesterday. So the answer is yes, it's going down today. Is it going down more today? Is it going to bounce back up? Dead cat bounce? Yeah, it's going to... We used to say on the trading floor, if it doesn't go up, it'll go down. That's a good one. So, do you mean like in the next 5 minutes, next 1 minute, next, 3 hours, Okay. I hope it made sense. Let's see. Simon says, when I was a kid, I thought that I will swim every ocean. Have you swam in the Red Sea? Do you swim in the Red Sea? We'll finally be able to meet the sun, but when I get older, I knew that the only way to meet the sun is to get to the moon first. Well, not necessarily. If you had a decent vehicle, you could go directly to the sun. But you could stop at the moon, and I guess you could say you could also stop off at Venus and Mercury, and whatever objects in between. Yeah, so I mean, there's a nice body of water, but get to the sun. I guess you were looking at the sun on the horizon, thinking you could actually get to it. That makes sense. In the next 4 hours. Okay, let's go look at the next 4 hours. But yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you see the sun rising, and wait a minute, the sun doesn't rise on the Red Sea, really, does it? No, it kind of, unless you're in the Sinai, it's rising on, it's rising behind it. So maybe down on the Saudi Arabian side, you used to look at it that way, maybe. And maybe on that angle, something like that. Yeah, when it kisses the sea, that's cute. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it all, really. Let's see. So what do we got here? Let's do this. Let's go onto my machine and see what we can come up with for an intraday chart for Big Guy. But yeah, that's, I love seeing the sun rise over water. It's fantastic. It really is beautiful. Let's see, where am I at? Not there. Let's go to here. Let's put this in there. There we go. Now, let's put the dollar index in there. And we'll see what it's going to do. Maybe over the next 4 hours. I don't have a strong opinion. I'm not big on hourly things, so I'm more spatial. So let's just see what this shows, and we may, it comes down. I never looked at this thing intraday. If I'm going to trade anything, I'm going to trade the currency itself more than I'm going to trade the indice. But sometimes, I haven't done options on the dollar index in a long while. Let's see, where am I at? Index, right? There, and the symbol is US. Well, that didn't work. Let's try that again. US. There we go. Let's see what this does. This could be fun. We'll let that cook for a few seconds. There you go. Yeah, this is let's let it fill in. Let's see. Now yes, when the sun kisses it. Okay. Robin's great. He is great. He had an old partner chasing after him a couple days ago. A business partner who was not very nice to him. And that's what I was making the joke about. It's like the guy woke up and realized that Robin is the deal. He's the big deal. He's the big deal. He's the big guy. Let's see, Doc. Why does manipulation, whipsaw, etc. happen? It make trading hard. Let me explain that. I've explained this before too, and it's well worth understanding. You have to go into it's like a campfire story. What happens is that money managers, in particular, what they do is they see, it's still completing the data. What happens? Money managers. Let's say you're managing $2 billion. Okay, I'm going to give you a parameter, and then you can extrapolate. You can kind of increase or decrease the structure of it. Imagine you're managing $2 billion of money in a hedge fund, okay, or a fund of any form. And so now what happens is that more than likely they're going to be invested in somewhere in the range of between 20 and 25 stocks. Okay. Now they're going to have what I would call as a stable, like where you would keep horses and things like that, or animals. They're going to have a stable of like another probably 30 different companies of stocks, but they're not invested in them yet. But they're monitoring them. They're looking to see if it fits their parameters. All that stuff. Okay. All right. Now, what happens is that they don't they have a method to purchasing those 20 or 25 stocks. Okay. They have X amount of money. Let's say it's $2 billion, and they're going to be invested, say, 1.6 or 1.5 or 1.7 billion, right? And they're going to keep $200 or $300 million on the side in case they can, they need it, or if that's like being like 80 some odd percent fully invested. Okay, if it's 1.6 billion, you're 80% invested. Most funds are usually invested between 75 and 85%, something like that. Slower times they might be only 65% invested, that type of thing. All right, so now here's the reason why products go up and down. All right, besides the fundamental stuff and the technical chart stuff, the real reason, more than anything else, as far as I'm concerned, is they take 2% of their assets of each one of those companies, okay? And so what they'll do is, out of that 1.6 billion that they're investing and keeping 300 or 400 million on the side to explore other projects, keep it in cash, all that stuff. What they'll do is they'll buy 2% of their money of each product. So in other words, there's one company could be a certain price, and they might own, 50,000 shares. And another might be obviously way more cheaper, and they may have 200,000 shares of it. Okay, you follow me so far? So they're taking the same amount of money, and they're purchasing the individual stock. All right? At the same time, they're monitoring the stock. They're always watching the earnings, and they're talking to the CFO, and they're watching sales, and they're doing all this stuff. Okay? Now, when a stock starts to take off and does very well, I don't know why. Let me go see if I can change this a little bit because I want to see it update. So when a stock does very well in that portfolio and it goes from 2% of the portfolio to say 3.5% of the portfolio, they may decide that that company is overpriced. And what they'll do is they will liquidate it back down to 2%. And that's why good stocks can go down. They chop up and down, and vice versa. If they have a company in that portfolio that they think is undervalued, and they still like it, but now it's only like 1.6% of the portfolio, they'll buy 4/10 more from that 400 million sitting to the side. And so that's why you get that choppiness. If you have constant movement every day by long-term investing funds adjusting their position, and that is why you see a lot of choppiness, because of that specific reason. Here I'm changing the setting here. What was it? Let's go back 2 days and see what happens then. Now, does that make any sense to you? Oh, there we go. Okay, now let's give that a spin. There we go. Let's wind that out. So right now, it went into the sell right here. Let's put a line up there so you can see the accuracy of it all too. There's the last one. That was a sell. Then it went into a buy here, right there. Now this is the dollar index. And then I think it went into the sell right there. Let's see if we can widen this a little bit more so it's even more visible. So that's why you see a lot of fluctuation in everything. That goes on in every product. Now, does that make sense to you? What does happiness mean to you, and what does sadness mean to you as a forex trader? That sounds. I like that question. That's good, funny. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's a good one. Is that to Robin or me? Now, Timothy, does that make sense to you now? You know why there's always fluctuation going on, or whipsaws in a sense, and then obviously news. Earnings. All those things. News in that category, news. It could be a lot of interesting things. Like the sales are not what they were, what they're supposed to be. That type of thing. You know what I mean? Let's see if Timmy says. Let's see. To me, as forex trader, is when I lose money. Yeah, right. I agree. When you get into a position and it's like, no. So, does that? I just want to know if that makes any sense to you. If I have to explain it any deeper. Let's see who asked the question. It was Timothy, right? Yeah, I don't see it. Oh yeah, there it goes. It does. It does. Movements are based on agendas. Exactly. The agendas of a lot of different personalities too. In other words, companies, groups, funds. So you got retirement funds, you got mutual funds, you've got hedge funds. Using their different strategies. But one thing is for sure, they all went to graduate school in Wisconsin, Wharton, Harvard, so forth. It's all that same policy, same type of concept. So what they're doing is they're not just throwing you don't have like $1 billion and then you just throw it without some type of logical structure and agenda, because investors won't put money in it to begin with. So that's what makes it. That's why it makes it so. Why the markets are always moving up and down is because you have investors. Following certain policy, and then then that policy changes, or profits. They have opportunity to take profits, one or the other. That's a plus. So now we're back into the buy again. This thing's getting a little tighter. There's the buy again. One sell and right back into a buy. So it's really flatlined at the moment. I guess we might have some news coming out. And then there was the last buy, like right there. Let's put some of the signals in. There was the last buy, and there was a slope up. Let's see how long that went. That went from 131 in the morning here, all the way out to 316. So there's like an hour and a half. Let's make that green. And then there's a sell right there. Went into the buy right there. The Asian hours are just not liquid enough to want to trust them anymore. I mean, they're very, very, very thin. You kind of want to stay with the European hours. The first half hour of the afternoon session in Tokyo, or the first session, the first half hour of that. After that, the markets are very, very thin nowadays. Let's put the red line in there. This is through the Asian period. Look at that. It took it all the way right to there to get into a sell, and then it finally gets into the buy right there off of that big spike. So, I would say just generally, I don't see anything at the moment giving any direction more than we're in a daily sell and a weekly sell. Let's go back to the product right there. So let's see, like that. I think you want, and you would think that there must be news coming out. Now you can see here, we're in a sell for 3 days on both indices, DXY and that, but it hasn't gone down. But it's in the weekly. In other words, the next day it turned around and spiked, and now it's trying to move back down again. I don't know. I myself would believe, since we're in a weekly sell and a daily sell, that it's going to find a way to go down, not up. That would be my opinion. Big news coming out in 24 minutes. DXY sinking now. Okay, that makes sense. Payroll numbers. Oh, yes, it's Friday. That's right. I was doing that TGIF stuff. Have I answered everybody? How you doing, George? Ready for the weekend? Yeah, I go with Robin on that one. Erase your emotions from your trading. You will be much happier. Yes, totally. And make it as robotic, technical analysis as possible. Try to not... we used to say on the trading floor, what gets you into a trade gets you out of a trade. So if you put a trade on and you're making money, then you take profits. If you start to lose money, when you got into that trade, you must have had an idea where you were willing to get out at. Get out. Don't talk yourself into a new story. Let is say this. Okay. It is okay to be sad, even the suns will die one day. Well, I don't know. Suns, they're a capacitor. They'll micronova. And entropy is all part of life. But I don't think I would commingle that with trading. I think you're. I like the philosophical desire, but I don't think that fits in trading per se. Yeah, there's no crying in trading. Exactly. I think that's the best way to look at it. There is no crying in trading. Also, no. We used to say on the floor, don't pray to God, don't do any of that. Just trade. No wishing. We used to also say no wishing in trading. Don't wish. Don't blame anybody. Blame yourself. That's what we used to say all the time. Yes, exactly. So what gets you into a trade gets you out of a trade. And don't shift gears in the middle of it all. Just take your profits. If you take profits, you're going to be a winner. The sun night will die one day. I'm not sure if it does or doesn't. Look at Betelgeuse. Look what Betelgeuse just did. It novaed. To me, the sun is not a nuclear process. It's an electromagnetic process. So, I don't believe it's like some type of atomic furnace up there burning away. It's the other way around. It's a lot of current running through the sun itself. It's a capacitor. Don't talk yourself in a new story. So, okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay. I guess we've answered a lot of things there. Yeah, think about it that way. Think of the sun as like a capacitor. It stores energy. And then one day it goes pop, and then you still have the current running, and you replace it so that you can control the amount of current running through it. That's all. Big Guy says, I like the trading floor trading education. If it's not going up, it will go down. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I like that one too. Let's see. Will one day die. That is what I mean. The sun night will die one day. I'm not. Yeah, it'll break. It probably will. There's, you got to look at Jupiter and Saturn. They're what they call brown dwarfs. They're small suns. Okay, they have never really got going. The nuance and understanding of the universe is dynamic in many, many ways. And so trying to, I guess you could say, confine the concept is really tough. The sunlight. Well, there's a whole different, sunlight itself is, is interesting in the sense that it seems to be it's an end product. It's not a beginning, it's an end. So, in other words, when you see sunlight, we're really seeing the end of a process. And that's what's emitted from it in a wave. Basically, the only way you can measure it is through a standing wave. It has no mass unless you make it a standing wave. So, it's not really, when trying to measure the energy of a beam of light, it's not part of its nature to be measured because it has no mass, and so with no mass, there's no energy in a sense, But we see what sunlight can do, so we know it's a remnants off of an event of energy. How's that? That's kind of, we're going into physics now. I like that. We should do a webinar of physics every day. The physics of the markets. That's what it really comes down to. What we do here is the physics of the markets. So in other words, we show you that when looking at the individual stock or currency or indice, it fluctuates just like a particle, like a beam of light. It fluctuates. It goes up and down. It moves to its environment. In this case here, the influence is the investors. The investors' mindset. Should they be more invested? Should they be less invested? Is it overpriced? Is it underpriced? Price discovery. Matter of fact, yesterday, I think we were talking about spatial charts versus fixed time charts. Let's go back to that fixed time spatial chart, and then we could go and look at that 4 hour if you want. Where was it at? Right there. There it is. Yeah, see, now it's okay. Now it's going into a sell. So the dollar index right there is in a sell, and I guess we get news in 17 minutes? That's what it is. James Webb Telescope is 1 million miles from Earth. I think it's 2. Is it 1 million? Okay. Yeah, it's 2 Lagrange, something like that. The other side of the moon. Right, they're trying to be in the darkness so that they can see further and further out. Yeah, it's been, intraday. It's in a sell now. There we go. It's in a sell. Let's see if it drops down more. Maybe it goes down to this bottom of the Bollinger Band. It's already piercing our math here. So it looks kind of fun at the moment. And I would imagine, what is that trying to say to us? We know that the employment numbers are coming out. What's the expectation? I think that's, I at this point in time, the fundamentals are starting to have a little bit more influence than they've had before. It seems like the stock market, let me go over to the stock market. Stock market seems to be moving back up. Let's put that up there. Yeah, we're off the worst levels of the day. Okay, yeah, look at that. This is the same chart right here as the one we're using on the dollar index. And you can see the S&Ps were down in the 4155 area 2 hours ago. And now we're trading in the 470s. And you see it's moving up. Went into a buy right there and rode that pony to there, and it went into a sell right there. Then it went into a buy right there. And it rode that pony all the way. It's still in a buy, just going into a sell right now. Look at that. So it went into the buy here. This has been a long drive right there. And now it's flirting with it just went into a sell right there. So let's see. Big guy says 139,000 jobs created in expectation. Okay. Let's see. Congenial says stock market will go up today. Seems like, oh, look at this. It's already turned. Look at it. We're already turning, like right there. Look at that. We're already starting to turn on that same chart. What do we got? We got four. Oh, yeah, that's going to go right back into the buy. Look at that. Right back into the buy again. There it is. Back into the buy in there. Let's go back to the dollar index. It's doing the same thing. It's trying to turn back up again. I guess they're trying. What's happening now is I'd imagine they're flattening their positions, trying to adjust their positions for the news. Because they're not going to try to trade through the news. They're going to trade after the news. So I think that's pretty much what it comes down to. Let's see. Got a commercial here. Right there. Okie dokie. There we go. So at this point, and we've got to fix that thing there like so. There. Here's Goodall's. Here's Goodall's formula for for existence. Right there. I was just looking at that. Yeah, you can see that flat line right there, and we're trying to get into the buy. I don't need to pick that up, and unless it was Robin. If it was Robin, I'd pick it up. And so you can see here, it's trying to get back into the buy on the indice. And we'll see how they play this out. Now it's breaking down again. We should make that even wider, so you can see all the cute little nuances. And let's move it up a tick or two, like so. There we are. So, yeah, we only listen to. That's the best way to go at this point. And don't trade in the middle of this stuff. Sometimes, in other words, not sometimes. Don't trade in the middle of it. Let it happen and then trade. Don't try to outthink it unless you're using binaries. I've been talking about that a lot more lately. Use the binaries, the very short-term binaries if you're going to try to trade. Put the call side of the binary on and the put side. Trade it for a minute or two, and that's it. That's probably like the safest way to try to trade these things. Now let's go back to the stock market and see what the stock market's doing. Okay, so it turned around and now it's rolled over again. See, they're adjusting their positions for the noise. That's what they're doing right there, and we're back into the sell now. And you can see there on the stock market. Now, where did we leave off when it came to currencies? I think we did. Did we do? I don't think we got past the Swiss franc, did we? We haven't done the Swiss franc even. We were looking at Aussie. Let's take a quick look at the Swiss franc. Let's see. Swiss franc. Unless someone else wants to see a particular thing, that's why we're keeping the index up there and we're paying attention to it on an intraday basis here. Let's go back to it again. Look at that. It's trying to spike its way up. Let's widen that thing too, like that. You see it's trying to push. We got 479 more ticks to go. So, yeah, look at that. It's trying to turn up. Now, I guess if it's 193,000, what's that do to the interest rates? Does that freak them out, make them go down, go up? Let's take a look at the bonds. Let's see what the bonds are doing, because that does influence the currencies more than anything else. Is the interest rates. There's the 30-year. It's basically flat from yesterday. That's the 30-year. Right there is the 10-year. That is also kind of flat. That's yesterday. That's today. The time sequence is off. I got to fix that. Let's see. Go like that. There we go. That makes it look better, doesn't it? Now that's a second. Let's do this. It doesn't have today's price in there now. Let's see. Current interest rates. There it is. Not there. Right there. There we go. See what that does. There it goes. Now it's fixed. So there's the 10-year. And the 10-year is doing that same thing, going that sideways action. And so when the prices are not moving, it means that they're stuck on the rate of the day before. And then here's the 5-year note right there. And let's just fix that one. There we go. So you can see there, where's that mouse at again? So you can see right there, all three interest rate products are stalled. They don't have any real direction at the moment. And we've got 7 minutes to go for the news. What else can we look at? Let's go back to the index itself. And see what the dollar index is doing again. Right there. They're starting to buy it. So they're thinking like, see, it's not ticking much though right now. 413 ticks, 411. They're just like 2 contracts here, 2 contracts there. It's nothing. It's quiet. So no one really wants to step up at the beginning of a noise like this coming. Or we could go and do this. We can take a look at a longer perspective. Where it is right there. That is the same as that one, but we could look at the, see, we go like this. We could take a look at this one right here. And you can see there, and let's widen that out. So it went into the buy right there for this move, went into the sell, and it's still in the sell on the S&Ps, like that. See, this is less sensitive, and if we make a copy of this, and then we paste it on this particular page, and put the dollar index in on that, that could be interesting to see. Excuse me. US there we go. Let's make it 2 days. There we are. It'll do the calculation like it did before. It'll start to build up. What we'll do is we'll jump over to here. And you can see it's doing that spiking thing right there. And you can see the Hinky ASCII is moving up. In other words, the dollar is getting stronger against the Swiss. Let's see what they're doing against the yen. There you go. Now the yen is moving down, but let's see without the Hinky ASCII. And it's kind of just still last couple of days it's been heading down. Let's see, what else have we got to say about any of this? Let's go back and check the longer term one again and see if we can find, where is it at? Right there. Maybe we have to put 1 day in. There we go. Now let's go back 3 days. That'll fill in. There we go. So it went into the buy. Let's move this over like that. Went into the buy right there. Went into the sell right there. And then let's take one of these and move that in. right there. Where's your buy at? Right there, is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's the buy right there. Then there's your sell again. Let's take that. Right there. And now, did it make it into the buy there? Blue is 42, green is 10. And yep, that's where the last buy was. So we can take this buy and move that over. So it's in the buy again. So it's fighting with the this is what's this? Something like 6 Tesla or something like that. I think that's what it is. It's like 5.7 Tesla. That's what I'm using here. So there's the buy, there's a sell, there's a buy, there's a sell. The sells, notice it's making higher lows, except for right here. We finally got, from that sell, we got a lower low, but it didn't take out any of these lows here. Didn't take out that. It's not taking that out. It's not taking that out. So you got to be careful. The thing is trying to lift more than fall. What do we got here? We got 2.5 more minutes. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. So this is probably the better tool to watch. What is a Tesla is 396. I call that a Tesla. It's his frequency of space. In other words, he was listening to space weather, and he was listening to the speed of the frequency of the movement of space above the atmosphere, and so it came out to something like 396 megahertz or something like that, or whatever he was measuring it in, but it came out to be 396. So he said that's his a Tesla. He thinks that I call it a Tesla. It's a harmonic. He went and did all kinds of electrical research over the years, and he would find the 396 inside that frequency would be in there. So I use a 396 to play with my spatial charts to define. The wedding will start soon. It will. What do we got here now? We got we have 1 minute and 15 seconds. No, what am I saying? We have 50 seconds. We have 50 seconds now. So we're getting very, very close. And let's see what how the stock market is positioning itself. Now, it pushed itself into a sell here. Let's put that on there real quick. There's the sell, and now it's in a buy. So the stock market has gone into a buy before the news on a short-term 5.7 Tesla. And the news is going to be out in 10 seconds. And then let's go over to the currency. Oh, look at that go! Pushed it into a sell. And then the second one. And let's see now if they roar it back up or it's going to stay in that sell. And it's in that sell. Let's go take a look at the currency. Let's see what the dollar index is doing. Whoa, look at it spike. Go, mama, go. Now, let's see. The jobs numbers came out, and they are, let's see what they are. Okay, I'm starting to try to read the information coming out. Okay, they're saying 185,000, and the number is okay. Here it is. 517,000. 517,000 jobs were added. They're saying they were looking for 185. And was it big guy said 193 or someone said 193? Let's see. So they did double that. So it's knocked the stock market down and raised the currency market. Let's see what the actual index itself is doing. Well, it's trying to get into a daily buy, that's for sure. But we're in that weekly sell, so more than likely it'll probably roll over again. Labor participation was 62.4. Unemployment was 3.4%. Well, the economy is really strong. Now, think about the opposite of that. The economy's strong, and so they're selling the stock market down. See what I mean? Fundamentals seem to just get thrown out the door. Okay, now they're going to start to bring the looks like I say they put it in a buy there and it failed again. So we'll do this. Put that there. So it went into a sell there. Went back into a buy right there. And now we are flirting with. Now we're back into the buy right there. Okay, now let's take a look at the currency again in it. It's just not moving anywhere near as active. But, it's coming off. If we go look at that more shorter term one of a 2 point, was it a 2.7 I think I do? Let's go find that. Right there. It's coming down, but sloppy. Now I would trade it now. I would have not traded it before, but I would trade it now. I would wait for the next signal and take that. All right, traders. Looks like it was a good Friday here. What kind of title can we call today? What did we talk about? So today's title should be related to what we can talk about on Monday and what we were talking about here, and that is, let's see, besides the sun and swimming and so forth, let me think. Anybody have an opinion what we should call today? Let me think. I'm open to suggestions. Fundamentals faded? I don't know. They faded the fundamentals. It seems like that. Good economic news. They sell the stock market down and they buy dollars. I don't know. What can you say? It's one of the stranger ways of watching our markets anymore. Let's see how the stocks are doing again. Now we're back into the sell again. Let's see. Someone says when are you going to start? How about this? I have an idea. I'm going to get out of here and start trading myself. But let's call it. Let's see. What title should we give it? I'm going to give it that. Why markets fluctuate. That's what I'm going to do. How do you like that? Because we talked about that. Why markets fluctuate. Obviously, you could say more buyers and sellers, but there are the mechanics to it on some level or another. So that's what we're going to call this particular webinar. Why markets fluctuate. All right. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Oh, how news affects the markets. I like that too. How news affects the markets. How news makes markets fluctuate. How's that even better? But I think I want to go with affects. News affects the stock market. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use something like that. That makes sense. All right, traders. Happy trails to you until we meet again Monday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and a smart weekend.